There's no obligation. Every policy we issue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose. Why wait? Call now.
Call 1-800-348-4433 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-348-4433. There's no obligation. 1-800-348-4433. Call now.
Joining us in studio from Netflix rom-com Kinda Pregnant, Will Forte and writer-director Tyler Spindell. Tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Now at 7, criminal charges against dozens of probation officers for enabling so-called gladiator fights at Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. The latest details.
Plus, a local teen killed by a DUI driver more than a decade ago. Now her family is fighting back as the convicted drunk driver could soon walk free.
And a break-in at the home of popular podcaster Evan Lovett. The LA in a Minute host put on hold with 911 for almost an hour. Lovett joins us live now on the news at 7. Good evening, I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. Criminal charges announced today over what are being described as gladiator fights at the Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall.
California Attorney General Ron Bonta says dozens of officers have been charged. KTLA's Rachel Menitoff live in the newsroom with more. Rachel.
Micah, Cher, 22 of 30 defendants are being arraigned today. The other 8 will be arraigned once they've secured lawyers. And they are charged with child endangerment and abuse, conspiracy and battery for what the Attorney General describes as ongoing deficiencies in the treatment of young people in juvenile halls. Now, this indictment was unsealed this afternoon. It is the result of a California Department of Justice investigation, and it was launched after the LA Times published this security video from April of last year. It shows 8 probation officers standing idly by while a group of teens attack a 17-year-old inside a common room at Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall in Downey. And according to the Times, the teen suffered a broken nose and head trauma as a result. Attorney General Rob Bonta says this video was not a one-off isolated incident. Between July 1st and December 31st, 2023, detention officers allegedly encouraged 69 gladiator fights between 143 young people in their care.
Some officers are even seen laughing and shaking hands with the young people involved. Watching the video, the officers look more like referees or audience members at a prize fight, not adults charged with the care and supervision of young people. The officers don't step in, don't intervene, and don't protect their charges.
And there have been calls on the state level to close Los Padrinos altogether because of unsuitable conditions and failed inspections. The county, however, has continued to run the facility despite the state order. The LA County Probation Department released a statement saying it fully supports and applauds the Attorney General, and the staff named in today's indictment have all been placed on administrative leave without pay. Micah, back to you.
Rachel, thank you for that. Federal law enforcement in Los Angeles announcing charges against 4 people suspected of smuggling 20,000 undocumented immigrants from Guatemala to the U.S. in one of the largest human smuggling operations in the nation, according to law enforcement. 2 of the ringleaders of the so-called Torco organization were arrested Friday and held without bond. If convicted, they could face the death penalty. A third is already behind bars in Oklahoma for his role in 2023 car crash that killed 7 migrants. The fourth, Helmer Obispo Hernandez, is still on the run tonight.
The LA City Council is set to consider the reinstatement request by former Fire Chief Kristen Crowley tomorrow. Mayor Karen Bass fired Crowley for her handling of the Palisades fire. And while some council members oppose the firing, a number appear to support the mayor. It would take 10 votes to overturn the ouster. Bass is launching a national search to replace Crowley.
Pope Francis is back on non-invasive mechanical ventilation tonight after suffering 2 new episodes of acute respiratory crises. The Vatican saying doctors extracted, quote, copious amounts of mucus from his lungs in another setback in his nearly 3-week medical battle. The 88-year-old pontiff reportedly remains alert and cooperative. His prognosis remains guarded.
The jury appears to be at an impasse and has been excused for the day in the case of OC Judge Jeffrey Ferguson, accused accused of fatally shooting his wife at their home in 2023. The jury is considering second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, or an acquittal. Friday, they submitted multiple notes, including what defines a lawful act and is conscious disregard for human life enough to be guilty of murder.
Concerns at Hemet Global Medical Center, where hospital staff say several people have gotten sick and dizzy in recent days because of a sewer gas leak. Employees claim the hospital is keeping the problem a secret and keeping their staff in the dark. Shelby Nelson spoke with concerned staff members in Hemet.
A call for transparency and safety at Hemet Global Medical Center. Some current and former staff members are voicing their concerns after what hospital officials called a sewer gas leak in this memo dated February 26th.
The ER on Wednesday had our air shut off. A lot of us were starting to feel dizzy and faint and had a headache. We chalked it up to the heat, because it was 80+ degrees in our unit.
But Jessica Meinart, who is an ER technician and member of one of the hospital unions, says she and many others continued having symptoms and sought medical treatment. According to the memo, the leak was on the 5th floor in the ICU and could lead to inhaling harmful substances. If employees weren't feeling well, they were told to seek fresh air, evacuate, follow safety protocol, and notify their supervisor. A hospital spokesperson confirmed to KTLA that there were temporary closures in certain portions of the hospital for plumbing repairs. We asked several questions, but were given this short statement. Hemet Global Medical Center remains safe and fully operational. Those working at the hospital say the ICU was shut down and still is, with patients having to be relocated. Hemet Fire Department tells us they were called out to the hospital for odor investigations. They tested for explosive levels of gas and for CO2, but they say those were unfounded. Now, that hospital staff is demanding the truth. They say they want answers and the documentation to prove it. Reporting from Hemet, I'm Shelby Nelson, KTLA 5 News.
The end of an era in downtown LA. The original Pantry Cafe has closed after 101 years of service. The LA landmark was once owned by former LA Mayor Richard Riordan and was placed in a trust after his death in 2023. The trust has been working to sell the cafe for months. Demonstrations by supporters and the union representing the cafe's workers ultimately proved unsuccessful in saving the cafe.
A man who attended a Lakers game with his daughter in 2024 is suing AEG-owned Crypto.com Arena, alleging battery, assault, and general negligence. He claims he was ambushed and robbed by 3 men in an upstairs restroom after being told by arena staff that the bathroom nearest to his courtside seat was occupied by a, quote, celebrity. Efren Grave also alleges his minor daughter suffered emotional distress witnessing the alleged battery. No comment yet from AEG.
On April 3rd, 2010, 8th grader Emily Shane was walking along PCH going from a friend's house to meet her parents, but she never arrived. Nearly 15 years later, the man convicted of intentionally running her down could soon walk free. KTLA's Angelique Kakaday has more on a story you'll see only on 5.
Sharon, Micah, we're on PCH and Heather Cliff Road, which the community had renamed to Emily Shane Way. Now, I spent a good hour earlier today with her parents, who is clearly devastated and distraught by this decision. Sharing stories and surrounded by photos of Emily Shane, Ellen and Michael recount their 13-year-old daughter's memory.
She did not have a mean bone in her body.
Emily was tragically killed when a suicidal man driving recklessly on PCH hit her in 2010. On Friday, the family found out Governor